my name is Del Schroff, and my overriding life health condition has been obesity. I've been overweight since I first went on a diet at the age of 8 and have been on diets most of my life. At my peak as an adult, I weighed 400 pounds. At the age of 8, I had my pediatrician put me on a diet, 800 calories a day. Extreme low-calorie diets, 800 calories is not enough for a child and not enough for most of adults. And what generally happens is a lot of hunger that eventually causes the binging and starving effect. And so I've done a lot of that, and I still struggle with keeping myself from binging and to keeping myself from starving myself. So very low-calorie diets. I've done a vegan diet as a means of weight loss. I've done low-carb diets both as a vegan and as a meat eater. And I've even done some healthy dieting. I've done exercise. At my healthiest, I was not worrying so much about dieting, but was basically exercising a lot when I first started college, and went from being 250 pounds in high school down to 212 pounds my first year of college. What didn't work about any of them is the fact that the weight always came back. And so the extremities, the extreme dieting always caused eventual weight gain, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Well, when I first became vegan, which was 1997, I opened up my own vegan bakery. And probably the worst thing I did was to absorb myself into the bakery so much that that's what I was eating. At my worst, I would go home from work and eat a bag of potato chips and drink a couple of beers, and that would be it, and I'd go to bed. And of course, I would think I wasn't eating that much, so that blah, 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 it wasn't a big deal. I'd get up in the morning and eat scones from the bakery, or muffins from the bakery, or baked goods. And it was not a healthy vegan bakery. It was organic ingredients, but it was white flour, it was a lot of oil, it was a lot of processed sugars, and I ate a lot of it. And you do it without thinking, especially if you're someone who's working a lot and you're just grabbing and going. And the caloric density in that kind of a food was huge. Now, I gained 100 pounds on that diet, on that vegan diet. I went from 300 to 400 pounds. I spent a couple of years in therapy with a therapist, an alternative therapist, about why I do a lot of what we call sabotage or self-sabotage. Bad eating habits are a form of self-sabotage. And, a lot of things come up. There's a lot of bad things that happen to us in our lives. And if you don't address them, if you don't deal with them, they're going to find other ways to express themselves, and usually not in good ways. I've been lucky. I've had a relatively really good life and a relatively easy life, but we all have things that happen to us. And knowing the difference between nutritional density and caloric density has made a huge difference for me. And it's also made me commit more to a plant-based diet, because meat-based diet, quickly down a path, it is calorically rich, it's high in fat, all those things, and it makes it much harder to lose weight when you're eating that kind of calories. And plus, as someone who used to eat meat and being very much an addictive personality, I could eat the 32-ounce steak, I could eat the pound of bacon. It was just one of those kinds of things. So getting that aside, focusing on lots of leafy green vegetables, beans and grains, and whole foods approach, staying away from excess fats and processed foods, which is a big one for me, has really made all the difference. And then a program of exercise. So where I used to exercise sporadically, I exercise now 5 to 6 days a week. In total so far, as a result of everything I've done through the Wellness Program, I've lost 140 pounds. And I feel much, much better. There's less joint pain, there's less struggling, there's more energy, and I can definitely feel the difference. The way that I live now, the way that I eat now, the exercise program is my life. I'm starting to try and think of myself as an athlete now. In other words, being someone who's physically active every day and not just sporadically, and making that, and you can tell the difference when I exercise and when I don't exercise. There's 2 different days. So being the athletic person, being someone who embraces a lifestyle as a part of me, is making a huge difference for the way that the decisions that you get up and make every day. And when you I've immersed myself in a business that's focused on health, so I'm teaching this every day. You can't go out and teach this and then be a bad example of what it is you want to teach. So part of my goal is to be a healthy example of what I'm doing, what I'm teaching.